let's make the best exploding popsicle stars that you've ever seen. Now, some of these are classic designs, some of them are brand new, including this one at the end, which is going to be a massive 50 popsicle stick exploding star, and I'll teach you how to make that at the end. All right, let's get going, and we're going to make the simplest, and then every single design is going to get slightly more complicated until this massive one at the end. I'm Jonathan Allers, and this is Destructive Creativity. Let's make exploding popsicle stars. You do not need a lot of fancy equipment in order to do this. All you need is popsicle sticks. They can be colored, they can be small, they can be big, it doesn't really matter. That's all we're going to be using because we're going to be harnessing potential energy and then turning it into kinetic energy, which is why they explode. Before we get going, let's dive into the science. This popsicle stick is at rest. This is the state that it wants to be in. If I bend it, I am putting potential energy into this popsicle stick, and if I suddenly release it, it flies away because I've released all that potential energy and turned it into kinetic energy, and it goes whee and flies away. That is the basic principles of why this works. Let's get into this. The most simple design, the boomerang. First, you start with one stick. So this one stick lays flat. This one you lay on top, right on the corner. And the third one goes underneath the first stick and over top of the second one. So you have a structure that looks something like that. Now this is the one that contains all of the potential energy. What you want to do is keep your hand on this corner so everything stays together. Lift up the second stick so that it goes right there. And now these two ends need to slide underneath of this fourth popsicle stick. And it takes a little bit of time. But if you brace it correctly and make sure nothing falls off, you get the boomerang. So that was the boomerang. Let's move on to the next level, the diamond. Now the diamond is one of my favorite because it explodes very easily. All right, so first you want to start out with an X. This is going to be your center. So you start out with an X, and then you don't worry about the diamond shape. We're actually building a square to begin with. Now what happens is you balance right there and right there. Now these two end sticks slide underneath the center one and over top of the two ends. Now this can be a little bit tricky, so you have to try and brace everything just right. Oops, there we go. And slide that one over top while keeping the one on the middle underneath. There we go. One good tip is if you do this on carpet, it actually is a lot easier than trying to do it on a table. All right, so that's the one stick. So now we just need to figure out how to put on this third one. So again, it's exactly the same as this side where it's underneath the center and over top of the two ends. So lift up the center, just like that. And you bend that over top and bend this over top, and there you go. This is full of potential energy. Now what you do is make sure it's not going to fall apart, and you just squash it. You just squash it, and the more you squash it, the easier it is to explode. There you are. That is the diamond exploding ninja star thing. If you have problems making your stars actually explode, I'm going to share some tips and tricks at the end of the video to make sure that they actually explode consistently every single time. But stay tuned for that. Now let's try this picket gate. This one uses 5 popsicle sticks, and it is surprisingly simple, but I love the way that it looks. So I'll move that aside. So to start off, you start putting your popsicle sticks in an X, and you put one directly over top, just like that. Now for this, you want to clamp everything down and bring one popsicle stick to the top, and it goes over top of the center one, and underneath of these two sides, just like that. Now you want to do exactly the same on the other side. So I'll turn this around. And again, over top of the middle one, and underneath of the two ones on the side. Now this does take a little bit of practice to get used to how to build this, but once you figure out how to build it, it is surprisingly simple. The fourth one we're going to be making is the classic. This is the classic star, and this one explodes very nice, and there's lots of people online that teach you how to make this, but I'm going to go ahead and make it anyway. So in order to do this one, you need a total of 5 sticks. All right, now first to start off, join them at the top, just like that. The third stick goes over top of this one, but underneath the first stick, just like that. Now this fourth stick goes over top of these two sticks here, and underneath of the one you just put down. And that one's a little bit tricky to slide underneath. That's okay. Now that is the star right there. Fifth stick is the final stick. It goes underneath these two and over top of the two right there. So all we do is we slide that under. Now we make sure we bend it up, and we're putting potential energy into this popsicle stick right here as we bend it over top. And then the last point here, we just bend that over top as well. And voila, we have an exploding ninja star. Level 5, the double A. So the double A has two different shapes of A's. It's that's what the sound of people make when they get hit by it is. Anyways, so you want to start with 6 sticks and arrange them like this. So you have one peak over there, and you have one peak over here. Now it is important that the inside of these two A's are over top of the outside at the very top. Now, what you want to do is keep them pretty close together because this center stick goes over top of the two middles and underneath of the two on the outside. So, let's see if I can do this here without making it explode. There we go. So now we have, if I'm holding this down, there's a lot of potential energy in that. We need to lock it in with this one on the bottom, which goes underneath the two center and over top of the two outer. So I'll try and show you this here. It goes underneath and then over and over, just like that. And that's how you make the double A. The 6th step. Now this one's fun because you can actually use as many sticks as you want. This one I put 6 sticks in again, but you could add as many of these cross braces as you wanted so that you could actually make it explode as big as you want. First of all, you need to start out with a single vertical stick, and then you want to layer 1 and 2 on top of that, and balancing all that together, you want to lift up that center stick and slide one piece about halfway up, just like that. So it's all interlocked. The center one is underneath these top 2 points, but over top of this central stick. Now the final stick that you need to make this goes over top of the center and underneath of the 2 corners, just like we did before with the throwing star and with the picket fence. All right, that goes underneath one corner, over top of the center, and then underneath the second corner, just like that. This is the most basic form, but then you can grab more popsicle sticks and following exactly what the center stick is doing, slide it underneath and then over top again. So you can add in more layers, and then each layer will add to the potential energy so that it explodes bigger. And we'll just keep going. Or it just explodes. This last one, you're going to want to get the larger popsicle sticks because this one takes a lot of fine detail. So this one's actually pretty hard to make because it's so massive. This is a gigantic throwing star. And it is self-contained. We've stored a bunch of potential energy inside of this gigantic throwing wreath, I suppose. Here's how you make it. The secret is to start with an exploding popsicle chain reaction. So I'll show you what that is. You start with a stick, place one over top of it just like that, and then this stick goes underneath and over top. So it's kind of like looking like the start of the star. At that point, pretty much you just do the exact same motion over and over and over again, where this one goes over top of the new stick, and then the new stick goes over top of the one previous. And you continue, goes underneath, over top, underneath, over top, underneath, over top. And this is a popsicle stick chain reaction, which means that if you let go of this one end, the entire thing will fling apart. Now, I don't really want to do that because, well, you know what, why not? So if I let go of this, it just flings apart. And you can make this chain as long as you want. Truly, like I've made one of them well over 20 feet long, and it's very cool. But that's not what we're here to do. We want to make a continuous loop all the way around so that you can hold it and then toss it and it will explode. Starting with the basics of how to make a popsicle stick chain reaction, then you just simply curve it around and spend a bunch of time, just a whole bunch of time, making it work. That's it! That's how you make throwing stars and throwing wreaths, as it were. So, a couple of tips and tricks of how you can actually make these explode consistently every single time. Well, the key is to try and make them as fragile as possible. You want to make them sturdy so that everything is interlocked very well so that it'll actually be created, but then you want to start easing the edges. You want to make sure that it is about to explode without actually exploding. So what do you think? Did you enjoy this video and have you made these yourself? Drop a comment down below if you've done it or if you want to do it, and make sure you hit that subscribe and notification bell. I'm Jonathan Allers. See you next time. Bye!